So we have the numbers are in, and National Bureau of Economics Research, sounds very official, has a study about PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, under Trump. Now, anybody with two brain cells to rub together can understand that the U.S. right now is awash with money. As a real estate investor, I've been putting in offers on things, and basically I just got a text from an agent a couple minutes ago saying that they're not responding. They have like 66 offers, or not offers, but like demands for like a walkthrough or whatever. People are loaded with cash, and they want to protect it, or everybody's trying to put money, hedge against inflation, trying to buy real estate. Bourbon sales are through the roof. Everybody's got a ton of money. And where did all this money come from? Well, I believe it came from this, obviously, the Federal Reserve, yes, obviously, but from what program and what are the channels? This is one possibility. This $800 billion, but we can round it up, maybe like $1 trillion worth of PPP that went to not really the workers, but the business owners and shareholders and their creditors. So we have an article from Reason. Federal government pandemic job program was a resounding failure. Now this reminds me of during Obama. I think Obama instituted some tariffs on cheap Chinese tires to save the tire industry, or the few thousand tire jobs that were here in the United States. Now, while it did save some jobs, they did a study later, and they noticed that Americans had to, instead of buying cheap Chinese tires, that to import tires from Vietnam, which are a bit more expensive. So they spent a lot more money on just tires. So for every job that they saved, every like $60,000 job, they spent $1 million, or the country spent $1 million worth of tire purchases. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be along the same exact lines. So September 2020, as the pandemic dragged into the 6th month, Republicans on Congress Select Committee on the Coronavirus Crisis released a report on the rollout of the Paycheck Protection Program. So they dumped in $800 billion. GOP reported the PPP as a forgivable loan program designed to provide a direct incentive for small businesses to keep their workers on payroll, which doesn't even make sense, because if you're a business owner and you're shut down, you're closed, and the workers are not doing anything, why would you? If you receive cash, it'd be much beneficial for your business. Yes, it'll keep your business alive, to pay the creditors, to pay rent, store up some liquidity. Why would you pay workers to not do anything? Of course, the government is trying to protect work, but the whole work is just a byproduct of a business. The whole goal of a business is to make money for the owners. And, well, as a side product, it makes, really good things for the consumer, for everybody. And as another side product, it creates jobs. But the jobs are not the point of the business. And if some of the jobs can be eliminated, so the owner can have more profit, and at the same time the consumer doesn't notice, because the same amount of workers that they do have can work more efficiently, or less workers, then that's more profit. That's how the business works. But the government here is trying to do something that's unnatural to a business. It's unnatural for a business just to waste money paying people for nothing. So, in other words, it was intended to save jobs of ordinary workers, and report essentially an extended brag sheet insisted that had done precisely that, crediting then President Donald Trump for accomplishments. Quote, the program focused on getting money to workers quickly and saved millions of jobs, kept the economy for collapse. Okay. A more accurate description would have been expensive failure. A recent study of the program's effects from National Bureau of Economics, NBER, finds that majority of the funds spent by the program went to business owners and shareholders rather than the workers themselves. Ultimately, 23 to 34% of the program funds went directly to workers who would have otherwise lost their jobs. The jobs that it did keep in place were preserved at a very high cost, somewhere between 170 and 275,000 a year for more than typical earnings affected workers, which closer to 60 grand. So most of the money, let's call it 80 to 70%, went directly to profits or to pay back credit or whatever, make the company better off. But the 30% that actually did go, it was the most expensive thing you can possibly do. It would have been much easier. I mean, they paid 5 salaries for 1 salary saved. And I would add, on top of that, the people who are making $60,000 a year, well, their money actually can buy a lot less now because of this incredible inflation we have here. While the PPP was able to save jobs, albeit at a very high cost, overall result of the program was precisely the opposite of what it was intended. The purpose of the program was to preserve jobs of wage workers, not to funnel money to businesses owners. As David Autor, Massachusetts Institute of Technology economist and the lead researcher behind the paper, told the New York Times recently, it turns out the money didn't primarily go to the workers who would have lost jobs. It went to business owners and their shareholders and their creditors. The program, he added, was highly regressive. Authors suggest several reasons for the program's unintended results. It was designed in haste at the beginning of the pandemic, blah, blah, blah. I read some of the study. It was about that I guess the government didn't keep a track of people's work hours. But the PPP was poorly designed and produced poor results accordingly. While it was successful to analyze and learn from the flaws of a program like this, I'm not sure the proper response to try to design a better program in the future. There are a variety of reasons for the poor design of the program, but in the end, it all boils down to a single unsolvable problem. No one, especially lawmakers in Congress, truly understood how the pandemic would unfold in real time and what the effect on the economy would be. So the PPP, along with the rest of the COVID-era relief programs, was cobbled together in a slapdash manner based on partisan agendas, poor projections, incomplete information and wishful thinking that simply did not receive well-designed relief programs, which is why the Obama-era stimulus package suffered from many of the same sort of flaws and failures. Rapidly constructed massive emergency relief programs are always going to be subject to those sorts of pressures and likely to result in these sorts of failures. So this is very well, we're living with the consequences now. I mean, some people made out like bandits. Some people are doing very, very well with, they're richer, multiple houses, multiple Lamborghinis richer. I will go as far as not in these emergency programs, but a lot of government programs are like this. The problem is people see a problem, they want government to solve it, and the government tries to solve it, and see the person who's having the problem, they got a little bit of money. See, they're helping, right? But what they don't understand is when where the government takes the money from, once they do tax the money, how much money it actually used to actually solve that little bit of problem. What, like, the opportunity cost is almost always greater than the benefits.